We are in the midst of a silent epidemic, and it is really bad. Previously, the worst epidemic in human history was the Black Death, the bubonic plague. At its peak, it killed 50% of the population. A few little pus heads one day, a week later, dead. The silent epidemic is far worse, killing 75% of the population, 3 out of 4 people. But worse, no quick relief, years of misery before finding relief in the cold of the mortuary. And what is worse, this is a self-inflicted, man-made epidemic without consideration of the suffering. But even worse is the disease of complacency. No one seems to care. It's just one of those things. Just grin and bear it. That's life. Which is a bit sad, as it is so easy to fix if people just knew how. We have the internet, which must be one of the greatest innovations. Yet it seems to have been captured by the internet marketers, who at best fill our screens with pointless coloured avatars whizzing across our screens, saturating real content, and at worst load us with lies and disinformation. So what is this silent disease? The disease of chronic or non-infectious diseases, obesity, diabetes, heart attacks and dementia. What causes these diseases? Well, it starts with the microbes in our gut. For some billion years, the weird and wonderful creatures that roam the earth had healthy microbes in their gut. They came from the creatures of the soil, the great recyclers, the worms, ants, beetles, nematodes, etc., that inhabited the soil, feeding on the sugars exuded by the plants and all the dead plants and creatures in their soil, and their poo and their dead bodies. They processed this to form beneficial microbes, which they pooed out into the soil to be picked up by the plants and eaten by the living creatures, which ate the plants, and the creatures that ate the creatures that ate the plants. Then modern humans came along, and at first they too had healthy guts. But then they decided, in all their wisdom, that microbes were bad and had to be killed. Because of a few bad bugs, they tried to kill off all bugs, but fortunately did not succeed, or we would not be here. Now, one microbe by itself is not terribly impressive, but put trillions of microbes into your gut and the picture changes. These microbes communicate with each other to create real intelligence. And one of the jobs of these microbes is to control our appetite, making sure we eat the right food when it is needed and stop eating when we are full. Without these beneficial microbes, we lost our control system. It was like having a drunk at the wheel of a high-performance car, a disaster waiting to happen. But note this, the good microbes breed incredibly fast. They start breeding within 20 minutes of being created. While you have been watching this video, thousands of new microbes have been created inside you. You do not have to do anything. They do it all by themselves, with no conscious help from you whatever. But with luck, you had a good breakfast which fed them so they could breed. But the real question is, were they the good bugs which lead to a long and healthy life, or the bad bugs which make us fat and sick? That is something you do have to control. And you don't have to be some super expert in microbiology to do that. Anyone can do it, as long as they understand one very simple thing. And this is why the abduction of the internet is such a disaster. It drowns this simple message in a cacophony of noise, lies and disinformation. So what makes the beneficial microbes, the good bugs, win? And what makes the harmful microbes, the bad bugs, win? It is simply a question of conditions. The good bugs need a magic combination of food, water and air. Provide that and they will win. How to create this magic combination? This is one of the cornerstones of the GBiota technology. Right at this moment, I would guess you are breathing. This is an activity which seems quite popular among the people I know, and as yet I've not come across some weirdo group suggesting that we all abandon breathing. It is the same with the beneficial microbes that live in the soil where they breed. They need to breathe, and this happens naturally. It rains, the soil is saturated, expelling all the stale air, and water drains away or is consumed by the plants, sucking fresh air into the soil. This is what we do with the flush and drain system in the G-Biota technology, and it is all so simple and easy. But this simple message is drowned out in the avalanche of over-sophistication that dominates the modern internet. Sometimes, if it feels like it, it will work. If it's not in the mood, it does not work. Let me tell you that breathing the soil is simple and works every time, and can save millions of people from the unnecessary pain and distress which comes from over-sophistication in our modern food system. So, if you want simple that works and would prefer to live a long and healthy life, then join the crowd at gbiota.com.